If I had a problem, I'd be starving. I'd be hawking this watch. I do not have a problem. I enjoy gambling.
Yeah, well, not quite. Yeah, let's stick to football.
We are back, baby! Am I live? Hey, these are family matters right here.
Hey, is that a regulation size football or what?
Hey, I think that's a first down in my book. Am I live? Are we good? Are we live here? No, your people, my people. Hey, I'm glad they worked it out. We're here now, so let's fucking go. Hey, I'm pumped. You guys are doing a hell of a job here at the Round Robin Pod.
Some sort of like welcome to the pod.
Hey, there it is.
No. You gotta do something.
Yeah, we need an intro, dude. Fucking welcome to the pod. Recording in progress. Welcome back. What's up, J-Mac? How we
How's
doing?
it going?
Making some picks for next week. So, do you want to do? My question is, what I think you picked your 5 already, right? Or no?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I know all 5 of mine.
So, but what I think is because obviously we've had this unfortunate run to start the season. So one of these lines is alive for the Booby Prize, which is last place in the Circa. You should give out the opposite of what you're submitting.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Okay, cool. Cool. So we'll do we'll just go. You want to go back and forth? I'll start giving I'll start with, well, you go first because I think we should I don't want to go right into my my picks because I want to cut the last pod first. So you go first. What's your favorite play this week?
My favorite. I didn't put them in order, but I guess it's gonna be Tampa Bay. I'm taking Tampa Bay -3 at the Saints against Spencer Rattler for his first start of his career. I like Todd Bowles against a rookie QB.
Yeah, there's some good
Bucs,
stats on Bulls against rookie QBs, I think, too.
Yeah, the Bucs defense is pretty good, and they put up a lot of points, man, and it's really hard to keep up with teams, especially with a rookie quarterback. None of the rookie quarterbacks have done well in their first start.
Yeah.
Jaden is kind of picked it up quicker than the rest. Now we see Caleb playing well. Bo Nix is still struggling, although he played better last week. But I just don't think Spencer Rattler, he's not really in the category or the caliber of the first round quarterbacks. And I think for his first start ever, it's going to be a lot of nerves. It's going to be at home in a really loud environment against a really good defense. And so I'm going with the Bucs for my first pick. It's 3 in the contest. I think it's 3.5 now also.
Oh, nice. Okay. So this is one of the games I didn't think about for long. I'm high on Rattler. I like him. His prospects as a quarterback. I would not play the Saints in his first start of his career. I do think though the just to play devil's advocate, I do think the tough spot about this play is you have home team getting points in division, and then you also have what I would imagine would be a team rallying boost around not having, like, Derek Carr was so bad in that Chiefs game that I think there's a chance that the team would rally around not having him as their leader in their next game. But I don't think that's enough for me. That's not enough to say this is not a good pick. I'm just playing a little bit of devil's advocate on like where I think something could go wrong. Like it wouldn't completely shock me if the Saints go like play hell of hard in that game. But the Bucs are coming off of extra rest too, right? They played last Thursday. So that's good. That's good.
Yeah. I always also think there's just like a huge wind out of your sails when you start really well and kind of maybe even buy into your team being really good, like everybody did the first 2 weeks with the Saints.
Right.
And then they just get crushed 3 games in a row, and it's kind of a reality check. And I don't know. I think they're in trouble.
Yeah,
for the
there's some
especially
very
this
good
week.
trends on you get the team with the extra rest. So it's like a 10-6 game because you get or a 9-6. You get a Thursday night really tough loss, so they get extra preparation. And then the Saints played on uh Monday night. So they had like and they played even later and they have the new quarterback, so even less time to prepare. I like it. So Tampa Bay -3 and Saints +3 in the booby line.
Mm-hmm.
All right. I am uh I'm playing the Jets again. Um
This is your favorite game of the week?
no, my favorite game of the week
Oh,
is the Seahawks.
oh, Seahawks. Okay, okay.
Yeah. And then if I'm gonna put these in order, I would probably put the Giants and the Commanders weighted slightly ahead of the Jets because I walked out of the stadium in Cincinnati being like I'm gonna parlay Giants money line and Commanders money line. I think there's a really legitimate chance that the Ravens and Bengals both are in huge letdown spots after that overtime game I just watched them play. But I'll handicap the Jets. So the Jets are +2.5 playing against the Bills. Now, last week I had a really similar handicap. I was like, "Oh, the Bills lost last. The Bills lost. Now they're gonna probably just go to Houston and win." Well, now the Bills lost again. But the interesting thing about this loss is the final was 23-20, and you saw that it was like tied with 10 seconds left. So if you look at that game quickly, you go, "Oh, the Bills played really good." Well, except for that they were getting blown out, and then Nico Collins went out 8 minutes into the game, and the Texans literally couldn't score after that. So
Mm-hmm.
I actually think like well, maybe not 9 times out of 10, but a significant majority of the time, the Texans win this game like 30-13. And Nico Collins went out. So I think there's a smidge of value fading the Bills because the result looked better than it actually was for them. I also think the square reaction would be like, well, the Bills lost 2 in a row. They can't lose 3 in a row. And I don't think there's anything really supporting that other than just like a square, like knee-jerk reaction. And then you get the Jets, who are going to be in at least equally motivated because this game is for first place in the division. So there's no real motivation edge for either team. And then I get the Jets, who have the new coach theory. We got Robert Salah out of there. We have the interim head coach as the defensive coordinator. Teams with fired coaches in the last however many years are 22-16 against the spread. And then I just look at the Jets season overall, and like I told you last week, they've been a very easy team for me to handicap. When things are going good, they get way overhyped, and when things are going bad, they get way, way overblown negatively. There's all these stories about how Rodgers actually got Salah fired. It's nonsense. That's not what happened. Eric Mangini said this on Fox last week. He actually predicted this. He said Woody Johnson was the U.S. ambassador to foreign diplomats or some bullshit, and that he would have all of his friends and like all these billionaire people or like special, like I don't know, whatever stuff were in his booth in London, and that he was going to get really embarrassed if they lost. That's exactly what happened. Somebody tweeted out, for sports betting, we need to know things that piss off billionaires more. We need to track these things more closely because this is exactly what happened. He got embarrassed in front of his friends. They really should have won that game. I really am like, I really feel like I had the right side. They were way more motivated. The Vikings had a weird letdown spot. Now they come home. They have a new coach. All of this stuff about Aaron Rodgers and the locker room being in turmoil is completely overblown and nonsense. And on top of that, Nathaniel Hackett, who we hate, was demoted from play calling duties, and somebody else is going to be calling plays on Sunday. So I think you can only get a boost from firing the coach. You can only get a boost from having somebody else make the plays. You can only get a value edge from how much overblown the Jets disaster is, and there's really nothing that tells me that the Bills actually can't lose this game. I think they totally can. So I have the Jets +2.5.
All right. I like it. I think it's a good one.
It has to be sharp, right? Like it can't, like that can't, like there's no way that that's the square side in this game.
Right.
It
Right.
can't be. I mean, I'm
No.
not saying I'm definitely going to win, but it just can't be the square side.
I also took the Commanders. You said you were taking the Commanders.
Oh,
That was
nice,
one
cool.
that
We'll do that
we're on the
together.
same side of. Yeah, so we'll be on the same side for the Commanders, plus 6.5. Probably sprinkle some on the money line also. That
Okay,
seems
I love talking about this game because I have so much stuff on it. So what's your handicap for this game? So Commanders plus six
well.
and a half at Baltimore.
Yeah, well, we were texting that whole game last week,
Yeah,
and I didn't really realize how hot it was, but you were saying how hot it was.
yeah.
And then you just watch. That's a typical game where both teams are just all in, and just they leave it all on the field. Really hot day. Probably takes 2 days to really recover from that game. Um, Commanders just kind of rolled again, and I don't know, man. It just seems like a lot of points for a Commanders team that puts up so many points. Um, I'm kind of, I've been high on the Commanders all year, and I've only bet them once. And I've been thinking about betting them every single week. And for some reason, they're like on the fringe and I leave them out. And I think that's been a mistake. And so I'm just gonna roll with them this week. And I think it's too
Ve-
many points. I think they could easily win on the field.
Yeah, awesome. So me too. So it so that happened to me this week. I thought about pulling them out this week because there's some public money on the Commanders, but the public wins sometimes, and I didn't let that scare me away. You mentioned the amount of points. I think that's important. The summer line, so all summer they set the line for the whole season for every game was Ravens -7. So I don't understand. It's a letdown spot for the Ravens. Obviously, the Ravens are upgraded slightly from the summer, I would imagine, but the
Hmm.
Commanders are upgraded huge.
Yeah.
Now, now I tried to talk myself through all of the angles of this game. So for the last 2 weeks, I've been fading the Commanders, right? They were getting 3.5 in Arizona, and they blow them out. And then last week they're laying 3 to the Browns. I'm like, wait, why is that line only 3? That looks like a rat line. And so I like kind of tried to outsmart myself and played the Browns. Now, if I'm looking at this from the other side, I would say, okay, well, your explanation for them blowing out the Cardinals was it was the Cliff Kingsbury revenge game. Okay, so they had a ton of motivation for that. Then last week the Browns like literally quit. Like my friends in Cleveland were telling me that the Browns radio was being like, "This is the most disgusting display of football that I've ever seen." It was like a
Yeah.
full laydown game. Now, okay, I think you
They
can
were
make
also
the
getting beat down like right away to start the game. They were just getting beat and then they just
they
quit.
quit. So
Yeah,
so you
but
can
the
make
Commanders
so
showed up. They were ready for the game. So
absolutely. And I actually think you can use that argument for playing the Commanders this week. Because if we're saying it's a letdown spot and a fade spot for the Ravens because they're coming off this intensely physical, crazy game, well, the Commanders just like kind of steamrolled through the Browns and the Browns quit. So if whatever the physical toll was on a very hard fought division game for the Ravens, the opposite happened in the Commanders. Now you might say, okay, well, then it must be a letdown spot for the Commanders. Well, it actually can't be because Baltimore and DC are like 30 miles from each other. So this is a regional like rivalry game that hasn't been important for 30 years. And it's really not important to the Ravens because they have their rivals are like the Steelers and the Bengals, and the Commanders' rivalry is with the Ravens. And the Ravens are like, I don't even like, what are you guys talking? We don't have a rivalry with you. We don't even like know who you guys are. But to the Commanders, this is a big like get up spot. Like we need to, and for the Commanders fans. So,
and if
uh,
there was a letdown, it would have been last week against the Browns, looking ahead to the Ravens game. And it's
I actually think the
steamrolled
letdown
them.
spot would have been after they beat the Bengals when they vote. So they've been getting hyped now for 3 straight weeks. So
Yeah, they're kind of just
this isn't,
rolling, and
yeah,
that
this
sometimes
isn't
happens.
this can't be a triple letdown spot. In my opinion, if we're going to start talking about them in a letdown spot again, it would be if they win this game. And then whoever they play next week, I could see them coming out flat.
I actually, when you were talking about like the best coaches, like the best coaching staff, like the
Hmm.
Commanders actually came to my mind. Like Dan Quinn has been solid for a really long time, and Cliff Kingsbury with the right offense is just like a point scoring machine, and
Yeah.
it's working. It's really working so far. So they might just be like the perfect pair, and the with the right quarterback and the right weapons. They're to me the most interesting, most fascinating team. They're the team that if they win the Super Bowl, like, I can't believe we don't have a bunch. We have a bunch on the Commanders. Like,
I'm not ready to put them in as a
no,
Super Bowl
none
contender,
of course
but
not. But they're. I'm not ready to
I
say
mean,
they have no chance either.
you picked them to win the division before the season started. So the other thing about the last thing I'll say about this game, we kind of already touched on in the intro. When Lamar has openly come out and said, in must-win games, I will run a lot. And he's he did that in Dallas. He did that in Kansas City. He did that against the Bengals. Um, he did that against Josh Allen on Sunday Night Football. Now, this is a game like the Raiders game where it just means so much more to the Commanders. You also have like the media trying to compare Jaden Daniels to Lamar Jackson. I think it's a really interesting, a good spot. Commanders plus 6.5 at the